Pelin, what'd you think? You like that video? Come on.
Yes, very much. Hi,
Hi,
Steve. I'm
Pelin.
excited to be here.
Thank you for staying up a little bit later. I know it's a little bit late in Turkey, but I really wanted to break down. And what we're going to talk about with you is how to maximize ASO seasonality. So with, the holidays coming up, it's a great way to increase your downloads because that conversion rate increases. But talk to us a little bit about it. And I know you prepared a slide, so I want to bring that up for us as well.
Awesome. Thanks so much. So let's get into it. I just want to give you a little bit of a background on mobile action. If you could just go to the next slide.
You bet.
Thanks so much. So Mobile Action was actually founded in 2013 as an agency, and then 2 years later, we launched our App Intelligence and ASO Intelligence suites. 3 years later, we launched our Market and Ad Intelligence suites as well. So we became a full stack App Store Insight suite, and we kind of drifted away from that agency thing. And then 2019, we launched searchads.com, which is an Apple Search Ads campaign management platform. And then a year later, we became an Apple Search Ads official partner. So if you could just go to the next slide, you will see our clients. We work with big industry names from every industry. So we have gaming clients. We are helping health and fitness apps, performance marketing agencies, and such. So to give a little bit of background about myself, I've been a customer success manager at Mobile Action for about a year. And then after that, I became an Apple Search Ads partner. So I've been with Mobile Action for about 2 years now. As a customer success manager, I was helping our clients with ASO. And now I am helping with both ASO and ASA, which is what we're going to be talking about today.
Nice. All right. I want to say hi to a few people. They are here. Dataology software. I think we're going to take a look at your apps. Lento, what's happening, dude? What's happening, George? Good to see you here. All right, let's get into ASO.
Awesome. So I'm sure all of you already know this, but again, just to give a very brief sort of an explanation, what is ASO? We're going to be talking about it a lot during this session. So it's basically every organic effort that you have to optimize your mobile apps, to maximize your visibility in the App Store and increase your conversion rates. And the factors that include your ASO efforts are your keywords in the title, subtitle, etc., your creatives such as your icon and screenshots, and then things that you can't control like ratings and reviews and such.
Nice.
So to kind of get to where does seasonality come in into all of this? So I think it goes without saying that user behavior tends to change around the seasons. So people may be, giving their attention to different things. They might be more inclined to download different apps according to the season. And so you really need to be prepared to get that, value from those seasons, grab the user's attention based on the season that we are in. Another thing that is really important to mention is that, keywords have different search volumes. So obviously every keyword that you're ranking for is going to bring you a different level of visibility. And around the seasons, different keywords tend to get popular. And so based on that demand, you need to optimize your keyword strategy so that you can really utilize the visibility that you're going to get from those. Another thing that you really need to do is leverage the seasonality by using unique creatives based on the season, which we are going to be talking about a little bit more in detail later on. But you also need to optimize the in-app experiences and your in-app event cards to boost your conversion rates. This is not only for new users, this can also be important for returning users and also your current users.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, Pelin, I could jump in here, and I'll jump this right here for you too. But what we seen with in-app events, back when Apple launched it last year, we didn't know the impact. And so a friend of mine did like Thanksgiving packs, all that stuff, and he was able to get some features here. And I've been pushing in-app events just because we've seen clients where they're big clients, and it's like you can see the data of that in-app event, and the people who install open like almost immediately. Right. And it's a great way to get this feature, because what I'm noticing is these in-app events are tailored for me. meaning I have this app or I've downloaded this app before, like this one. And so it's a no-brainer. As you can see, they're going into the fall season. So this is a great example of somebody doing seasonality in-app event here. I really like this.
Exactly, as I mentioned, it's really important for returning users as well because it's something new that you're doing with the app. And I think these in-app events also sort of create a sense of urgency because they are not permanent. They eventually end, and you can see when it's going to end. And so people, tend to want to take advantage of that if they are interested, if you can reach the right crowd.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, let's get into the next one.
Awesome.
You
So
see
when
this
we
okay?
say yes, so when we say seasonality, we actually have different types of seasonality. The first thing we're going to be talking about, thinking about, are going to be the special holidays, right? So we just wrapped up Halloween, and then we're going to have Christmas, and then we're going to have Valentine's Day, and those kind of go without saying. And these can be applied to sort of any type of app because you can sort of decorate your creatives with these things. But then we also have special events which do not happen all year round, and category specific apps can take advantage of these. And so one of these that are coming up is Black Friday, obviously. And so again, Black Friday can be utilized by any app that has in-app purchases, but it's going to be most beneficial for e-commerce apps, we can say. But we also have, for example, sports events that any sort of sports streaming apps can take advantage of, maybe radio apps can take advantage of. And so this is also a different type of seasonality that we need to be aware of. And then the last one is what I call viral events. So whatever is going on at the moment, and I think I put a very fun example here. This is actually a chess app that I use. And Elon Musk is kind of a hot topic right now with him buying Twitter and all that. And so now they're having this in-app event called Billionaires. And so these are opponents that you can play against. The opponents are like Zark Zuckerberg and etc. I think it's a really fun way to incorporate whatever is happening at the moment into your app. This requires really quick action and really quick planning, so you can implement it before the hype dies down. But if you can do it, not just for new users, but also this is, like, I think, really fun and something that is going to improve the retention rate of your current users, because it just shows that you are, present with the app, you are maintaining this app, you are staying on top of things, and you are giving new and fun experiences to your users, basically.
Yeah. What I love the Black Friday example. It's one of the biggest events in the US. And what I've been telling, and I've been playing around with this with clients is, hey, create a promo, because you can do that you don't need a developer for any of this. Create a promo for one of your subscriptions, have an in-app event that links to that promo. Now, I don't know if this is going to work, Pelin, because Apple's a little tricky with these in-app events. We're actually testing with one of our clients an in-app event that just links to the app. It's not a deep link, because we're like, we can't do deep link, technology wise. And I was like, okay, let me try submitting it with the just to the app. But I would say, put that in-app event together, create that promo within App Store Connect. I'll create a video for this a little bit later, and then run it on Black Friday and see what happens, because it might be a nice little push for you. But I like that example with Black Friday.
Exactly. Yeah. Actually, we've seen that in-app events and in-app event cards actually have worked really great for some of our users, because, again, as I said, it's attention grabbing, and also it creates a sense of urgency, especially for Black Friday deals. So you can create, like, a special sort of discount for that season. You can create new bundle deals for that season. You just need to be aware of the App Store guidelines to do that. And as long as you're following the rules, I think it's going to give a good push.
Like it.
So when we say, leverage seasonality, where do we start? So obviously you need to understand the season very, very well in order to optimize for it, because every season will sort of have its different intricacies, and users will be inclined to download different apps during these times, as I mentioned, but they will also be going towards different themes, going toward different color schemes, for example. So for Halloween, you might use spooky characters like purples and oranges and mummies, vampires, monsters, so all of these like creepy aspects. But then Christmas comes around and you need to switch it up 180 degrees, and you need to do festive colors, vibrant reds and greens, and you need to use Santa Claus, and they will be looking for more of a cozy and warm and giving kind of a vibe. And also they will be looking for gifts to buy, for example. So that's something that, again, e-commerce apps can use. And so you need to, as I mentioned, understand the season well. And then once you're done with that, you need to actually understand how your app can relate to that season. Because as I mentioned, it's really easy to just decorate things based on the season and then just, update it like that, let it go. But I think it's important to relate it well to your app, because if you do something without giving it much attention, without relating it well to your app, it might have the exact opposite reaction from the users. So you need to really connect the two. And then once you do that, before strategizing, you need to decide on the location, because not every season is going to be working for every location. So for example, for a country where the majority of people are Muslims, you might not want to, go for Christmas themes, but you might want to go for New Year's instead. And so you need to understand the user base and then strategize according to the storefront. Not every strategy will work the exact same in every storefront. And then the last thing, again, kind of relates back to the first point, but you need to capture the messaging of this, season spirit. Again, for Christmas, for example, it's going to be cozy, giving, warm. For Halloween, it's going to be spooky. And then for Black Friday, you're going to want to, maybe use a black, backdrop for your app icon so that it gives a little bit of elegance. But you might want to also use red, for example, to create a sense of urgency in your users to, make their purchases during this season. So you need to make sure that your messaging matches the season, basically.
If we had to start between like local, doing a seasonality for app icons or screenshots, Palin, is there one that you would start off with? Hey, do the icon. We've seen good results with that.
I would definitely say icon, actually. You gave the perfect example because it's basically the first thing that a user sees. So anything that the user is going to see first is going to be our first focus, because again, we just want these to be attention catching at first.
I like it. Okay. Yeah, me. You broke it down for us. App icon, preview video, screenshots, and then the in-app experience. I like that.
Yeah, so on the topic of that, let's say that you sort of made your app icon according to the season. You changed your screenshots, you changed your preview videos, whatever. So your product page completely reflects the season, let's say Halloween. But then the user comes into the app and there's absolutely nothing about Halloween. The in-app experience is the exact same. So that is going to lead to a very high bounce rate. The user will, be kind of misled by your product page at that point, and that is going to create, again, the opposite effect. Let's say you have a game and the in-app experience, like the gameplay, is actually like sunny and bright and bright colors. If the user sees that, after coming to your app from that product page, it's going to create frustration, or at the very least they might just close the app and delete it. In the next slide, we actually have a very good example of this. Subway Surfers did a great job of leveraging seasonality for Halloween. So they did change their app icon, they did change their screenshots to match the theme of spooky. But then if you go into the app, they actually changed the gameplay as well. So the sunny backdrop had actually changed to something more creepy. And they also had in-app events for Halloween as well. I put 2 here, but they had like 3 or 4, I believe. And so they really optimized for this season. You can tell that they prepared really well for this. And so this is something that's going to increase the retention rate as long as it's done right. And I just wanted to put it here as a good example. So you need to match the creatives with the in-app experience for sure.
Yeah, and I think, there's an old marketing saying that says it's easier to like sell an existing customer than trying to find a new one, and that's what these in-app events are all about. Like, hey, look, it's telling me, hey, you want to come back into the app? Like, you know what I mean? Like, do you want to come back in on some of these apps that you used to have on your phone? It's a great way to re-engage with your users rather than always thinking about how do I find new customers. Like, what about the ones that actually took an interest in you and left? It's a great way to just bring them back in here. So, man, Subway Surfers, shout out to them. 10 years running. Insane. They're still in the top charts, Pelin. It's crazy.
Exactly, they are. It's very nice to see, actually.
Yeah, I know. All right, we're still here. I like it.
Awesome. So moving on to keyword optimization. So again, as I mentioned, different keywords tend to gain popularity during certain seasons. You might actually need an ASO tool such as Mobile Action to actually discover these trends. But here you're seeing a screenshot of Mobile Action actually, and we're seeing in the shopping category, the keywords that are getting more and more popular are obviously Black Friday. And so what we need to do, again, as I mentioned, if we want to gain visibility for these seasonally popular keywords, we need to either place them in our metadata or our search as campaigns. So the problem with the metadata here, especially if you have a relatively successful app and if you have relatively good organic rankings, you're not going to have that much space to place these keywords because, the moment you delete a keyword to add something seasonal instead, you are losing rankings for that other keyword. And so this is sort of where Apple Search Ads will come in and help us. If you can go to the next slide, I also put an example of how many variations of a seasonal keyword there can be. So for example, looking at Halloween related keywords, these are just a small portion of them. These are not all of them. But I just wanted to put here the ones that have a relatively good search score, which is basically their search volume. So you can see we have, for example, ghost games, we have hocus pocus, we have some different typos of, Halloween games for adults, Halloween games free. And so you're not going to be able to place all of these in your metadata, obviously, because organically we have very limited space. So what we need to do here is we can actually put these in our Apple Search Ads campaigns so that we can bid on all of them. And while we are doing that, we can also create custom product pages for these keywords as well. These CPPs obviously will be seasonal, so they will reflect the, theme of the keyword you are bidding on. And this way you're going to be taking advantage of all of the seasonal keywords. But another thing here is that you need to do this in advance so that you can actually collect data.
I like it. And the bad thing about seasonality is it's only once in a while that happens. So you're gonna have to wait to figure out, oh, that did work, and wait another year for that. That's why I'm like, look, let's just go hard on the Black Friday stuff and let's see what happens, because why wait till next year? Let's just try it this year while all these things exist. All right.
Exactly. Well, actually, that brings us to our next point. So there are some things that you need to look out for when you're leveraging seasonality. So the very first thing that we should mention is the high bounce rate. So there will be some users who will be coming to the app from all the hype around that season if you optimize well, and then they might leave the app. And another issue here might be that if the in-app experience, again, as I mentioned, doesn't match the new assets that you have. So that is one thing that we need to look out for. Another thing that we need to do is at the end of the season, you just need to go back to normal. You cannot leave your app seasonal all year round. I think this should be obvious, but if it's been Christmas and then a month later, you still have Santa Claus in your app icon when your app has nothing to do with Christmas, it's just going to look bad. It's just going to signal to your users that you're not really taking care of this app. Unfortunately, it's going to signal the same to Apple as well. So it's going to both directly and indirectly hurt your visibility on the App Store. So that's something that we definitely don't want. And for us to be able to do that, we need to have a very clear roadmap and calendar for how we're going to be doing things. So first, you need to really research the market, research what your competitors have been doing, if they started doing anything, what did they do last year, maybe what did they do that the year before that. So you also kind of have an idea of what worked for them in the past years, not just 1 year. So you can kind of see how they are evolving their strategy as well once you do that. Again, for you to be able to do research like this, you need an ASO tool for like mobile action, where you can see all previous updates of an app. And then you need to start planning. So how exactly are you going to execute things? Because you won't have that much time to execute actually. You need to also test in that phase. So again, you need to start testing in advance because if you use, for example, product pages, product page optimization, you're going to need like 2-3 weeks at least to collect enough data. But that also means that you cannot update your app at all during that time. So if you don't want to go for product page optimization, you can also use, again, as I mentioned, custom product pages, which doesn't really divide traffic as well as we want in the sense of A/B testing, but we can just do, we can just see what users are kind of inclined towards. And if you start in advance, you're going to have more data. And then you need to execute at exactly the right time and then analyze your results and, start planning already what to do for next year. So this is not really a set it and forget it practice. And, considering there's not just one sort of event in the whole year, you kind of need to be doing this constantly if you're going to leverage any type of seasonality.
I was on mute. Okay, I need a producer. All right, I like it, Pelin. You want to go to the next slide? That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
I love it. So, guys, if you wanted to learn more, go check them out. Mobile Action is a great ASO tool and search ads tool that I've been really utilizing your searchads.com to automate a lot of the bidding that you might have to do. Great. It's sort of like almost like Pelin said it and forget it, because you can set up a bunch of rules and automation. And the worst thing about search ads is literally managing the bids, making sure that those bids are hitting your cost per acquisition goals. And so that's one of the things that we have to do that manually. We do, where we go into the client and just adjust the bids based on the CPI goals, and searchads.com will take care of that. And then Mobile Action for the ASO side, they've got a free plan for all you indies out there who want to just get started. It's a great tool. I use the search ads like research tool to see which apps have the most impression on a particular keyword. So I love that one the best. So it is Mobile Action and searchads.com. Hey, Pelin, I want to kind of talk about the seasonality. And for those, if you are a game, I know Dataology, I know you got the jigsaw puzzle game. We're working together. So I apologize. I was like, I knew Dataology sounds familiar. But if you're a game, it's sort of like a no-brainer, right? You can see all the top games like Temple Run and then Subway Surfers. They still have some of that seasonality, going on. And so it's sort of like a no-brainer. And I think it's just an easy, quick little win rather than focusing on all these little things of like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. Like, just try it out. See what happens. It should improve it. It's been something that games have been doing for so long, and it just makes sense. I think it's a great way to re-engage users and be like, oh, what's this? Oh, cool. And then almost like on your phone, you're like, oh, it's a new app icon. That's kind of cool, right? Like, let me check that out again, because it's in line with what's happening right now in season. So again, I'm a proponent of it.
Exactly, yeah, I agree. And also I want to mention one more thing about like Subway Surfers. I think it makes sense that they are still at the top because they are still, very actively taking care of the app. Like I was gonna check out their Halloween creatives, and then I saw that they already, changed their assets based on another sort of a special holiday. And I was really surprised to see that. Like these guys never sleep.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's amazing to see them in the top charts to this day. Like no game has that much, and so many clones too of Subway Surfers. Like there's been plenty of clones that have come and gone as well. All right, let's take a
Exactly.
look at anything else you want to cover from the ASO side of things, seasonality.
No, no. I think we're
Okay.
good.
Well, let's kick it off and we're going to do an app audit as well. Now, I go live on YouTube. For those who aren't familiar with my channel, I go live on YouTube every Friday and then we take a look at your apps. We have a guest on. And so we're overfilled actually for this virtual summit that with all the app audits. But if you want to take a look at your app in a future YouTube live stream, just go to appmasters.com/audit. All right. We've got Gonzalo's app pulled up, Pelin. Da Vinci Kids, fun learning. So it looks like fun, specially curated kids content, award-winning shows, all in one. He wants help with keyword positioning, store listing improvement opportunities. And that's why I said, okay, I know who to talk to if you have that question. So that's why I brought it to your attention, Palin. What do you see here?
The very first thing that I'm noticing is that we have kids both in the title and the subtitle. Since in
Mm-hmm.
iOS, things keywords only get indexed once. That is a complete waste of our space. So we can just rule out kids from our subtitle, not only for the space, but also I don't think it as much. Just because we already have it in the name like Da Vinci Kids, I don't think anybody is gonna think that this app is for adults after that. And so my first recommendation will be removing the four kids from the subtitle.
I like it. Have you guys noticed any, there's been some articles written on this and some we experience, like, have you seen anything with duplicating these keywords? Back in the day, having a keyword duplicated in the title actually did help your rankings. And I'm testing out if it's still maybe it's true today. Like, Apple's always changing their algorithm. So I'm like, I wonder if it's back true again. Most of the time it's you don't need kids, but have you guys noticed any data on your end where duplicating does help or does it hurt?
Actually, we have not seen any sort of benefits from duplicating keywords in iOS. Actually, the exact opposite. We've seen the benefit of removing duplicate keywords and replacing them with higher volume, some popular keywords that are really generic, has brought us a lot of rankings, and we didn't really lose any rankings for our original duplicated keyword. And also, for example, if you add something that is going to make it long tail keyword with the duplicated keyword, that actually really helps as well from what I've seen.
I'm going to take a look, Gonzalo, real quick. Uh, Mexico. All right. I know this trick still works, Palin. Spanish Mexico, you want a whole different title, a whole different subtitle as well, because the Spanish Mexico localization is indexed by the US App Store. So if you're going to use English anyways, Gonzalo, you might as well have different keywords. So whether it's fun learning here, it could be, I don't know, educational TV for kids or educational content. And then when I'm looking at the screenshots, Palin, I'm kind of thinking through like, what kind of content is this? I get that you're specially curating, but like, what is it? What can my kids learn? Whether it's painting, whether it's, I would like to know types of things they might be learning. And it feels like it's YouTube content that's being shown, but we'll figure out once we get into the app. But that's what the sense I get. So is it like specially curated, but also like, hey, we've original content? It doesn't seem like original content, but I would like to know what kind of things. If I'm a little bit, as a parent, I'm going to be a little bit more guarded in downloading this for my kids because I want to know what's exactly in this before I even download it.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. And I think, different screenshots could have maybe like if they are covering different subjects, like one of them could be based on maths, one of them could be science, whatever the app's coverage is. I think we really need to show that well in the screenshots because, like you mentioned, we can't really understand what that content is.
Okay. Yeah. And, he has it in the description. It's like science, technology, engineering, art, math, science, all that stuff, learning, do brain boosting games. So I don't see that in the screenshots. And frankly, I think your screenshots could be updated a bit. They seem a little bit old. What is this? 2020? 2003. I don't know. Sorry, Gonzalo. So, anyways, and I know with parents, one of the things we tested is having these trust symbols is pretty important. Kids safe, certified. You might want to put this one into the first three. Like you can just literally have it as a badge right here versus just its own screenshot that's buried later on. So, and then, maybe having some testimonials and screenshots too. All right. We got anything else on the ASO front, like the keywords on the App Store page, Pelin, that you want to cover?
Yeah, sure. So about this app, I would just like the description, the long description, to be a bit more parted up. I think it looks a bit too clustered, so your eye doesn't really go anywhere when you look at it. It just sort of looks, like a big paragraph. So I would just recommend making it a bit more, in bullet points. The eye goes to the value propositions immediately. Just make it a bit more readable and make it, more attention grabbing, because, at a first glance, I can just see STEM there, and I think that's the only thing my eye went to first, just because it's in, uppercase. But my eye should go to all of the value propositions one by one. So that would be a recommendation from my side. One more thing I would like to mention is the screenshot you want to move to the forward with sort of the parent and the kid. We don't really use the color red so much in kids categories. Our clients usually don't prefer this color too much. So we usually, especially for educational kids apps like these, we usually go for more blues and purples and greens. Are the more popular colors of this category, but usually not, bold colors like red.
I like that. I like that insight. Yeah, I've noticed that mostly it's blues and yellows. They're bright still and purple, but not necessarily red. All right, George did have a question for you, Pelin. George says, when we do change the keyword relevant fields, how long until we should see the results? How long does it take for us to see the results?
In about 2 to 3 weeks, you should have a pretty good understanding of where your keyword rankings are going to go. If after 3 weeks you're still not performing well for a keyword, you can just safely take it out.
What should we do? Should we do anything besides just put it into the meta field? Like, I don't know, run some search ads. I don't know. What else should we do?
Basically, there's not much that we can do to get, better rankings from these keywords other than putting them in our metadata. One thing you can do, let's say you have a keyword in your App Store Connect field, but you definitely want more, better rankings for that keyword. You can try moving it up, so either to the title or the subtitle, which have higher ranking factors. If you're already bidding on this keyword, which again is the best thing we can do aside from adding and removing keywords from our metadata, is just bidding on them on Apple search ads and increasing their bids. And basically, if your tap through rates are low, you can try optimizing your product page a little bit more. And if your conversion rate is low, for example, you can just try, for example, optimizing your long description or just description for iOS. So those are sort of the only things you can do, basically.
Okay. Hey, Pelin, I'm going to ask you this question. I got this question from a client of mine. It's like, how do we increase the search volume of our brand?
That's a really great question. So one new thing that you can do is Apple is coming with, with the new placements. So today tab, we've actually seen great results in terms of the impressions. So it brought like multiples of what our regular campaigns are bringing us. So you can definitely try that to create more of a brand awareness for sure. So the Today tab has worked especially well.
Okay, I like that. And I think maybe like influencer marketing, because, people are going to be searching for that particular term anyways. That, but I like that Today tab idea. All right, you want to get into the app real quick? Well, we got about 4 minutes left. Let's see how fast we can go. All right, here we go. Let's help out Gonzalo. I'm gonna hit don't allow. Ask for push notifications. Enhance. What I would do is enhance it versus enhance their learning. You know what I mean? Just I like using terms like your, things that say personalize it to me. Any thoughts on this page right now?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think it's a bit still vague.
Yeah. All right, let's get started with learning, reading content. Okay. Interactive learning. These visuals seem a lot better than the screenshots, Balin.
Yeah, I agree with that actually.
See, you got the perfect testimonial right before I got to create an account. Awesome. Right. What's your child's age? All right. Let's go, Chloe. Maybe I shouldn't just publicly announce all my stuff online. All right. Chloe loves my daughter. Chloe loves this. Okay. Sign in with Apple. Everything's good so far. Yeah, the visuals here are amazing, Gonzalo. Your screenshots, not so amazing. That's like a D, and this is like an A. All right. Okay. 7 days. I like this. Set a reminder, set a plan. So this one doesn't. Oh, still. So both have trials. Yeah. Anything here that you want to add? I like this paywall. I think it works.
Yeah, I think it comes in a good time. Just, put the testimonial in your screenshots, and I think we are good to go.
Yeah. I think nothing here that I would add. I like the paywall. Sometimes I like to go longer, but I think if you're not going to go a long paywall, then the Blinkist model is what I'll call it, works the best. All right. And then
Yeah, exactly.
I'll hit X. Well, hitting X takes forever. I love that little animation. Okay. I love that too. Oh, wait. Did I not? So it looks like it's a hard paywall. So I don't mind a hard paywall. That I'm actually a proponent of hard paywall. But what I don't like is you kind of tricking me in having the X and then giving me this. Maybe they're just giving. Oh, okay, so that was confusing. Did you know that we would get this for free? This content for free?
No, exactly, no.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that either. I thought I'd have to pay. But this is cool that you're giving me some free content, but I had no idea this was actually paid. I mean free. I thought I had to have to pay. Because this little thing up here looks like it's a lock without like really looking into it, Gonzalo. He's like, hey, here's a sneak peek, get free episodes before, here's what I would change on this, Palin, is call it our most popular episodes for free just for you. And then people can go. But like reword it. I didn't know what this meant. Watch 3x free episodes before you start your trial. No, our most popular episodes for you before you start your free trial. That's it. FOMO, popularity, people love that. Do that. Remove this little star thing because it looks like a lock. I really thought it was a lock. But then, yeah, just say this is all free. You could be better about that. All right.
I agree 100%.
All right. Once again, it is mobileaction.co or searchads.com if you want to learn more. But check it out. Really, really, we still use the tool. Okay. So actively tool if you're an indie developer. They're really making a big push and trying to help the indie community. You can get started for free. And as you scale and start making those revenue, you can scale up for that. And then go to searchads.com if you need an automated way to manage your search ads. A time saver and a lifesaver, really worth it. Set up those automations and you'll be like, thank you, Steve. That was awesome. All right. Pelin, if the audience wants to connect with you, you want to send them anywhere else?
They can just connect with me on LinkedIn or shoot me an email at pelin@mobileaction.com anytime they want.
Yeah, I love it. All right. Ariel has one last question that maybe Pelin can answer. How does the phrases work in the keywords? Should I type all the phrases together or create several phrases with a single keyword?
You can actually do the second one. So you don't need to put the phrases together. You can put a keyword in the title, another keyword in the keyword list, and they are just going to combine with each other, especially for iOS. It's kind of the same for Google Play, but putting the phrases together kind of has a better effect on Google Play from what we've seen. But in no way do you have to put them together.